Hello, security pros. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on today's ESA webinar, How Cielo365 Unifies Your Entry Ecosystem. It's time to move beyond the complexity of fragmented security. Join us as we explore how Cielo365 acts as the single powerful portal for your entire building ecosystem, integrating access control, intercom, and visitor management into one seamless interface. I'm Ana Magayon, a marketing specialist at ESA, and I'm excited to lead this webinar today. Before we dive in, I'd like to provide some tips for those of you joining us on your first ESA webinar. Welcome. You will be muted for the duration of this session, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. If a question or comment comes to mind at any point during today's session, click the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen, and I'll ensure we save some time for your questions with our experts today. We'll also be recording this webinar, so you can rewatch the on-demand session and share it with your colleagues. Tomorrow, you'll receive an email thanking you for your attendance today with a link to the recording. Also, calling all security pros who are ready to take your career to new heights. Don't miss out on the opportunity to join us at ESX 2026. Registration is now open for June 1st through 4th in Irving, Texas, for the premier event in the electronic security and life safety industry. With engaging sessions, valuable networking opportunities, and cutting-edge technology exhibits, ESX promises to be an unforgettable experience. We at ESA realize your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending some of that time with us today. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Esteban Pastor, the Senior Product Manager at ZKTeco. Take it away.
Great. Thank you, Anna, and good afternoon, everybody, or still maybe morning in some parts of where we are in the US. But yeah, so we're going to get started here with All Access, how Cielo365 unifies your entry ecosystem. Thank you, Anna, for the nice introduction. So a little bit about me. I'm the Senior Product Manager here at ZKTeco USA. I've been here for a little over 10 years. I started off as a tech support engineer here and then just kept my nose to the grind and kept working up. So I oversee all our access control operations here in the US. I've been a member of the industry for, 10 years. I'm very involved in a lot of things with SIA, OSDP, and things like that. So now let me give you a little about ZKTeco, who we are, right? So we're one of the world's largest technology manufacturers with over 25 years in the industry, over 4,000 employees, and a presence in more than 100 countries through 50 branch offices and 140 service outlets worldwide. So ZKTeco USA is the North American arm of that global operation. And when you work with us, you're partnering with a company that has scale, product breadth, and the global support infrastructure to secure facility end to end, not just today, but as your needs grow. So here in the US, we're headquartered in Alpharetta, Georgia. In our office here, we offer full pre-sales and technical support, which means we're with you from the initial design and quoting phase all the way through installation, commissioning, and ongoing service. So with us, you're not just buying a box and figuring it out on your own. Our facility here includes a fully functional user experience center where partners, customers, whoever wants to can come by, see every product in our lineup. You can see it working live, all our access control, intercom, visitor management, turnstiles, everything is hands-on and visible here in our experience center. So it's one thing to read a spec sheet, it's another walk through the door using face authentication and watch it happen in real time. And just a quick kind of overview of the different things we do offer. So we have access control, turnstiles, walk-through metal detectors, X-ray baggage scanners, intercom systems, visitor management, even identity and access management, and key management, where we partner with one of our partners, Taurus, in order to offer that fully integrated solution here in the US. So some of the stuff we're going to be going over today is going to be, a lot of things that we currently see now, right, and how we can solve them. So we'll go over the problem with fragmented security systems. We'll introduce CL365, its access control, its visitor management, and its intercom, and then we'll get to some questions, hopefully towards the end of this. Right. So right now, the way we see it is managing security really shouldn't be this hard, right? The reality is most organizations are running multiple disconnected systems, separate platforms for each thing, each access control, visitor management, intercoms, and multi-site oversight. So that means users are juggling multiple logins just to manage who gets in the door. Each system has its own interface, its own credentials, and even its own learning curve, which slows response times and increases the risk of human error. And visitor logs are still tracked manually on paper sign-in sheets or standalone tools that don't talk to the access system. This creates gaps in your audit trail and makes compliance reporting a headache. And your intercom and video systems operate usually in their own silo. When someone buzzes in, the person answering has no context about that visitor's access permissions, and they're making decisions blindly here. So for organizations with multiple locations, there's no single pane of glass. Managing access policies, pulling reports, responding to incidents across sites means expensive on-site visits or clunky VPN workarounds. And if you have any experience with that, VPNs and port forwarding and all this stuff, and having to deal with your internet service providers, you know this is not an easy task, right? So the takeaway is that these aren't edge cases. This is the daily reality of what we're living in right now in the security world. And it's exactly the problem we're trying to solve by bringing all of these functions into one unified system. So we talked about the software side of the problem. So here I tried to be funny. We'll see if anybody gets it. But right, when you go to a building, sometimes you'll see like five, six different readers outside in front, right? One is for the first floor access. Another is an intercom that goes to a reception desk. The other is um, another intercom that goes to the second floor, right? So you have all these disconnected platforms, multiple logins, and siloed systems on the software side, and the hardware side is just as broken. So in these images, this is what a typical entry point is looking like today. Card reader mounted next to an intercom, a keypad off to the side, maybe a separate buzzer or other type of video unit, three or four, sometimes five different devices bolted next to the wall. Uh, bolted on the wall next to a single door. So let's look at this from the end user's perspective, right? A visitor walks up, sees multiple devices. Which one am I supposed to use? Do I press the intercom button? Which one do I press? Do I tap my phone to a reader? Do I have an access credential? I don't know. Do I punch a code on the keypad? I don't know. I don't remember if anybody gave me a code. There's no clear guidance. And the result is confusion, delays, and a pretty poor first impression. And employees aren't much better off. Different credentials work on different devices. So a key card might open the front door, uh, but not buzz them through the parking gate, right? They end up carrying multiple cards or fobs just to move through their own building. And for the facilities or security team, it's a maintenance nightmare. Each device comes from a different vendor, runs different firmware, requires separate servicing. So when something breaks, you're coordinating with multiple support lines. Uh, I think the clutter on its own tells a story, and this is what happens when security hardware is purchased piecemeal over the years rather than designed as a unified system. So to combat that, we have the Omni series, right? So that's our flagship hardware line here. The key message is consolidation. Instead of installing a separate card reader, intercom panel, video camera, and credential scanner at every point, the Omni series combines all of those into a single sleek device. So that means for your customer, they get a simplified installation, one device per door instead of three or four. And that translates directly into lower labor costs, less cabling, and a faster rollout. So with reduced hardware costs, there's fewer devices to purchase, maintain, and eventually replace. And you're also getting a cleaner entry experience. No more cluttered door frames with mismatched hardware from different vendors. The Omni series delivers a modern and professional look at every entrance. And then we also have at the bottom here that it's powered by Cielo365, and that's important because hardware is only half of the story. Cielo365 is our cloud platform that ties everything together: access control, visitor management, video, intercom, multi-site administration, all from a single dashboard. The device is the entry point, and the platform is the brain. So if anyone asks about compatibility, the Omni series supports basically every credential that you could be using at this point in time. So your key cards and fobs, PIN codes, QR codes, Bluetooth, palm and face authentication. Um, what else can I throw in there? Wallet, Bluetooth, right? So, and it supports all of that, and it's all configurable from Cielo 365 without having to touch the hardware. And from here, we'll talk about some of the specific capabilities that the readers in the platform unlock, right? So we have one reader that can pretty much do every credential, and it consolidates all that into a single device, eliminating all that hardware clutter. So we start off with face and palm biometrics. Supports touchless facial authentication and palm vein scanning with built-in liveness detections. That means it can't be fooled by a photo or video, and it's completely contactless. So you're not actually touching anything with, your palm or anything else. You're not touching a card. You're not touching a keypad, anything like that. It's all contactless biometrics. Then also we have QR code and mobile. So visitors in the visitor management instance can use a QR code that was already sent to their phone, and employees can scan their QR code or tap via Bluetooth, right? It's compatible with Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, so they can badge in directly from their phone. No physical card is required there. This is especially powerful for visitor management, where you can send a time-limited QR code before the guest even arrives. As far as its connections, it also supports OSDP and Wiegand. This is the integration story, right? So OSDP is the modern encrypted standard. Wiegand is the old man legacy standard, and unfortunately still used in most existing installations. So the Omni series can speak both, which means it works with any access control panel, any already out in the field, if you do need to integrate this with a third party system. Uh, Additionally, we also have a built-in SIP intercom. So this is one of the strongest differentiators, right? A full video and audio intercom is built into the same device. No separate intercom panel needed, and it uses a standard SIP protocol and can ring directly to our Armatura ICS app. It's also outdoor rated, so it's IP65, which means it can handle rain, dust, and temperature extremes. It runs on Omni 30, is also supported with PoE. So a single cable handles both the data and the power, simplifying the installation and reducing your cable costs. And of course, it's Cielo 365 cloud powered. So every Omni device is fully managed from the cloud platform. Firmware updates, access policies, credential provisioning, health monitoring, all remote, all centralized, no on site visits required to do any kind of routine management. And we even do have a mobile app for Cielo 365 that lets you do all the configuration right from your phone or tablet. So when you think about it, remember, this isn't separate products bolted together. It's one purpose-built device that replaces the entire stack of legacy hardware at every entry point. Uh, so that's the sleek form factor on these devices. If you can see them on the screen, so you would just put up one of these devices instead of, six of those other clunkers. So now let's talk about Sail 365 itself. So it's a cloud native SaaS platform built by us here at ZKTeco USA. And as it comes with other cloud things, there's no on-premise server to install, no VPN to configure, and no IT infrastructure to maintain. Everything runs on the cloud, and it's accessible from any browser or mobile device or through our mobile app as well. Right. So we kind of have three pillars here when it comes to Cielo. So first off, obviously, is the access control. This is the foundation, right? It gives administrators a single dashboard to manage every door, device, credential across all their sites. They can set access schedules, create user groups, assign and revoke credentials, monitor events in real time. If a door is held open or forced, the system sends an instant alert. And instead of logging into a local server at each building, everything is centralized in the cloud, right? So a regional manager can see over 50 locations just from their laptop. So the next point is the visitor management. And this is here to replace the paper sign-in sheet and the disconnected visitor kiosk, right? So front desk staff or hosts can pre-register visitors from our portal, which automatically generates a one-time QR code that's time limited, sent to the visitor's phone before they arrive. So when they show up, they scan the code at the Omni. No waiting, no manual badge printing. The system logs the check-in with a timestamp and a photo, creating a full digital audit trail. For compliance-heavy industries like healthcare, education, and government, this is a game changer. Then, of course, last but not least, we have the intercom, right? So since it has a built-in SIP intercom, Cielo365 is where you manage it. So when someone presses the call button at a door, the video and audio feed runs through the platform through our SIP server, and then it goes down to your phone on our Armatura ICS app, and it actually rings as a phone call. So it's not like you have to open the app, keep it running in the background at all times. This actually calls you, and it looks like someone is just calling you from the cell phone. So, uh, and when it comes to that video, it only supports one-way video. So that means you see the visitor, they don't sue you, they don't see you, and then you have two-way audio between each other. So these three capabilities traditionally have required like three separate vendors, three separate contracts, three separate dashboards, and CL365 collapses all of that into one platform, directly solving the software fragmentation we outlined in the slides before. So now we'll go into the access part of this, right? So let's dive a little deeper into this. So we have our real-time device and event monitoring. So that means every door event, every access granted, every access denied, door held open, door forced, shows up live in the dashboard. Administrators don't have to pull logs after the fact. They see what's happening across their entire portfolio in real time. And this is critical for security operations centers and for meeting compliance and audit requirements. We also have multi-site and multi-customer management. So this is a major differentiator, especially for integrators and managed service providers. A single login gives you visibility and control across every location and every customer account. So there's no more switching between systems or driving to a site to make a change. We can even do custom user roles and access permissions. So obviously not everybody needs full admin access. You wouldn't want to do that. So Cielo 365 lets you create granular roles, right? And custom roles. So for example, a front desk user might only manage visitors, or a manager might see all the sites but not edit policies. And a super admin has like full control. So this reduces risk and keeps the platform clean. Then we also have a lot of the basic access control functions like interlock and passback and anti-passback. So interlock prevents two doors in a man trap from being opened simultaneously, which is essential for high security facilities. And anti-passback ensures a credential can't be used twice to enter a door without exiting first. And that prevents tailgating or buddy punching. We also have our real-time alarm and notification delivery. So beyond just logging events, the system actively pushes alerts via email or in-app notifications. So if a door is forced at 2 a.m., the right people know immediately, not when they check the logs the next morning. We also have site maps with visual layout, so administrators can upload floor plans and pin devices to their physical locations. Instead of scrolling through a list of door names, you see a map of the building with live status indicators. This makes incident response faster and gives new staff an intuitive way to understand the layout. So on the right side of the panel here, you could see that it supports, the multiple credential types, right? So all manageable from the same portal. So you have fingerprint, QR code, mobile. So that includes Bluetooth and wallet, QR, face and palm authentication. And really here, the key point is the flexibility. Different doors can use different methods and users can be enrolled in multiple methods simultaneously. So you may have someone that prefers to use a card, or someone who wants to use a pin, or someone who wants to use a palm or a face. It's really flexible depending on what that user's preference is, right? So maybe you have moved to mobile, but not everybody has a smartphone, right? So you want to be able to have that flexibility, and it's all of this can be configured per door per user in Cielo365 without any firmware or hardware changes. Additionally, if you want to do like a multimodal factor, if you want to do palm plus card, palm plus face, card plus pin, whichever one it is, it's completely flexible to um, whatever you want to go with. So now let's kind of walk through the visitor management and the whole experience and kind of bring this to life here. So imagine you're an office manager at like a mid-sized company. You have a contractor coming in tomorrow and they're meeting with your engineering team. So here's what that visit, how that visit plays out with Cielo 365 and our visitor management module. So the first step is to pre-register them, right? The day before the meeting, you open up Cielo and you pre-register the visitor. Name, email, expected arrival time, which doors they're allowed to access, and the system automatically generates a time-limited QR code. So say that's valid from 9 a.m. to noon, right? So that it gets emailed directly to the visitor or it gets texted to them before they even leave to meet you, and they have their credential on their phone. So no one at the front desk had to do anything yet. So compared to the old way, here the visitor shows up unannounced. Someone scrambles to find out who they're meeting, calls upstairs to confirm. They go back and forth, manually prints a badge, right? Writes their name in the paper log, and that process takes 5 to 10 minutes and creates a horrible first impression. Where step two, now we're going to where the visitor arrives the next morning, walks up to the Omni, they hold up their phone, the QR code scans instantly, and the system recognizes them as a pre-registered guest. The Omni can also snap a photo at this moment for identity verification. The check-in is logged automatically with a timestamp, no paper, no front desk bottleneck. If the user wasn't pre-registered, they can still use the Omni's intercom to call the front desk or their host, who can grant one-time access from their phone. But ideally, this is not that's not your best scenario. Okay, so next, here's where the intelligence kicks in, right? Cielo 365 doesn't just unlock the front door; it validates the visitor's permissions in real time. The contractor gets access to the lobby and the third floor conference room, but not the server room or the executive wing, right? So it's modular as to where they have access. And the QR code only works during that approved time window. So if they try and scan at 12:01 p.m., the door stays locked. So this is time limited, zone limited access, automatically enforced, no human judgment. And then afterwards, after the visit, the system retains a complete digital record in the cloud: who visited, when they checked in, which doors they accessed, and when they left. So this log is searchable, exportable, and always available. No filing cabinets, no lost sign-in sheets. And for industries with strict compliance requirements like healthcare with HIPAA, education, safety mandates, government and facility clearance, this audit trail is not a nice to have, it's a regulatory necessity. So the kind of story that we're telling on the slide is simple. Before the visit, during the visit, at the door, and after the visit, Cielo 365 handles every stage. The old way required manual work at every step, and the new way is automated end to end, more secure, and creates a professional visitor experience. So now let's think about how intercom works at most buildings today. Uh, Someone presses a buzzer, a tinny speaker crackles. The person answering can hear a voice but has no idea who they're looking at. They either walk to the door to check or they just buzz them in and hope for the best, right? It's a security gap that's hiding in plain sight. So here's how it would work with our solution, right? Since it's a SIP-based intercom, it's the same protocol that most modern VoIP systems are using anyway. So there's no separate intercom wiring for that. For integrators, this simplifies the install. The access reader and the intercom are the same device on that network. So you can answer from anywhere. When someone presses that call button on the Omni, the call can route to the receptionist or security guard's phone, or even just keeping a tablet at the front desk. The person answering sees the live video feed, talks to the visitor, and then can unlock the door, all from that same device. So what's unique is we have one-way video too, right? So the visitor sees the Omni screen that is just a blank phone call screen, uh, but you see them on your phone, like your tablet. They don't see you. This is a deliberate design, right? It lets the person answering verify who's at the door without revealing their own identity or location. And that's especially important for after hour scenarios in any situation where the person answering might be alone. And then, of course, if no one answers the intercom call immediately, uh, that system sends a push notification and alert. So it doesn't go unanswered, but you have the visibility that someone tried to call, right? So that solves the common frustration. Visitor presses a buzzer, they're waiting, pressing, and eventually walking away because nobody responded. And traditionally, intercoms have been a completely separate system from the access control. Different hardware, different vendor, different management interface. And with the Omni series and Cielo365, it's built onto the same device and portal. That means when someone calls the intercom, the person answering already has context. They can see the visitor's name if they were pre-registered, check their access permissions, and grant or deny entry all in one workflow. And that's an integration advantage that not many standalone intercom systems can offer. So now let's answer why they should choose Cielo 365 over anyone else, right? So it's 100% cloud SaaS, right? Software as a service. So that's the architectural advantage. There's no on-premise server to track. Uh, you don't have to rack it, nothing heavy, no software to install on a PC, no VPN to maintain, uh, no operating system updates, RAM. If you guys know now, the price of memory has gone through the roof, and that'll burn a pretty deep hole in your pocket. So for this, the entire system lives in the cloud. And for the end customer, that means faster deployment. You can have a site live in hours instead of weeks. And for the integrator, it means no more scheduling server installs or troubleshooting Windows updates that broke the access software previously. And because it's software as a service, updates happen automatically, and every customer is always on the latest version. And going back to this, we can manage it on any device, right? So CL365 portal is already fully responsive. A security director can review events on their desktop. A facilities manager can unlock a door from the CL365 mobile app, and a front desk receptionist can manage visitors on a tablet. This flexibility is pretty valuable for organizations when distributed teams or after-hour responses are required, right? So multi-site, one login. This is one of the strongest competitive advantage. Most legacy access control systems require a separate server or license per building, where here you have a single login that gives you centralized view of every site, every door, and every device. For enterprise customers managing dozens of locations and for integrators managing multiple customer accounts, this eliminates hours of context switching and duplicate administration. And with us, we made sure that this is legacy and future ready. So this addresses one of the biggest objections we hear. We already have your hardware in the field. Um, what do we do? So in that case, Cielo 365 isn't just for the new Omni series, right? So it's not only going to support the Omni series. We're going to support the existing Pro Series panels, our older speed face devices from years ago. We want to make sure that all of those customers still had the option to move to the latest product. We're not going to make you uh, rip and replace anything. You can onboard your current devices into the cloud and add Omni devices as you expand or move up, right? So there's no like forklift upgrade required, right? That backward compatibility, sorry, yeah, that backward compatibility protects the customer's existing investment while giving them a clear migration path forward. And then the one a lot of people hear constantly over and over are the truck rolls, right? So this resonates mostly with integrators. So every time they have to go to a site, they have to drive out there just to reboot a device, update a firmware, or change an access schedule. That's time and money, right? So right now in these days, gas here in Atlanta is $4 and like 15 cents a gallon at least, right? And that keeps going up. So that means that your costs going out to these sites get even higher, right? So with Cielo's remote diagnostic and management tools, they handle most of that from the portal itself. So we've seen integrators cut their on-site service visits significantly after moving to it. And for managed service providers, billing on SLAs, fewer truck rolls means better margins. And Cielo 360, and when it comes to integrations, Cielo 365 isn't walled off, right? We're not trying to lock you in 100%. If you have other stuff, we're also connecting with other things, right? So we can connect with video surveillance platforms. We have integrations with Hanwha and Digital Watchdog, as well as NX Witness. We also are mobile credential providers, uh, and all our visitor management workflows work within our ecosystem, and things can be custom made or tailored to that customer depending on what their needs are, right? And our platform is built with open AIs, as opposed to what everybody kind of says is, oh, we're open. We're open. Yeah, we're open to work with anybody as long as, it fits their narrative. No, we have an open API. We offer it with, the regular standard protocols, SIP, SIP, OSDP, RTSP, all that stuff. So it plays well with the existing infrastructure, or for or customers who are invested already in cameras, phone systems, identity providers, all that stuff that's existing. Is Cielo 365 can just enhance what you already have instead of replacing it. So for us, Cielo 365, and this isn't just a feature comparison, it's a fundamentally different approach. Cloud native, device agnostic, backward compatible, and built to reduce operational costs, right? So here, this is a little diagram we made that, kind of shows our full ZK ecosystem, or ZKTeco system, whatever you want to call it, right? But it's pretty simple. We don't just handle the front door, we handle everything at your site with access control, visitor management, intercom, video surveillance, elevator control, parking gates, entrance turnstiles, and, physical key management. It's all covered under our ecosystem. So most packs only solve one piece of this puzzle, which means you end up stitching together multiple vendors, where with us, one partner handles it all. So that means fewer contracts, fewer support calls, and one system that actually talks to itself from the parking garage to the top floor of that building. So yeah, I'm not sure where we are on time. I think we're a little early, so we have plenty of time, and I know we set up time for some Q&A. So if anybody has anything, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Esteban. I can start with a couple of questions. Just a reminder to everyone here, there is a Q&A feature at the bottom. You can click into that and submit any questions for any of you that still haven't, and or are thinking about it, we still have some time. Um, let's see, I can kick us off with a couple of these
Mhm.
questions. All right, the first question I see is you showed the software fragmentation problem and the hardware clutter problem as two separate issues. How does ZKTeco solve both of those simultaneously rather than just trading one problem for another?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yes, for sure. It was kind of a
Uh,
long one.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
you showed the software fragmentation problem and the hardware clutter problem as two separate
Mhm.
issues. How does
Yeah.
ZKTeco solve both of those simultaneously rather than just trading one of the problems for the other?
Right. So the power of ZK is that we're the manufacturer, right? So we have complete control over the hardware, and we also develop all the software and the solutions that go along with those. So we have complete control. We're able to marry those. So when we build all this different hardware or these different software, we make sure that it's all going to work together with the common goal of providing a fully operable solution.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Our second question. A lot of companies in this space claim to be all in one. What makes the ZK Tech ecosystem genuinely different from a competitor who just bundles a few products together?
Yeah, I think it also comes down to just the power of being the manufacturer and the R&D and things like that. So globally, we offer so many different solutions, and like I showed on one of those last slides was how we can the power that we have to be able to manage an entire property or building from the second you drive up all the way until you get down, you sit at your desk, from whether it's a parking barrier, a metal detector, an x-ray scanner going through, using a fob or a face at an elevator, and then our elevator controller taking you to your floor, then badging into your office, even to when you get down to uh, sitting at your desk with identity management and access management when it comes to single sign-on and logging in with things like that. That's truly a full, complete solution where, yes, other vendors may offer, maybe 1 to 2 to 3 at most pieces of that puzzle. We're really able to just say, okay, from the second you drive up, we got you covered. Uh, all the way till you're sitting down, where you don't have to mess around and talk with, 6 or 7 different vendors for each solution. So it's really a lot easier, and it gives a more peace of mind to integrators and customers, knowing that, the phrase "there's one throat to choke," right? So if something happens, they're going to come after us instead of having to go after 10 different um, vendors, trying to track down all these different people and trying to find a solution. If you just come to us, we'll work with you. We'll either get you set up or get you fixed with whatever you need done.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Perfect. All right, the next question. For an integrator or end user who already has legacy access control hardware installed, what does a migration path to Cielo365 actually look like? Do they have to rip and replace everything?
No, not necessarily at all. I mean, if you're changing with an existing system, the only thing you would really probably have to rip is maybe that access control panel. You can use existing readers, existing wiring. Basically, you can keep your entire infrastructure with only having to change out a panel that may be just in the server room. So it's a centralized location. If you're upgrading to different readers, then yeah, but yes, you would have to change out that hardware, but you can still use all that existing wiring. And if it's an already installed system that's using our ZK Pro Series panels, then you literally don't have to do anything. It may just be a firmware update, and then we can just easily migrate you to the cloud. We have, a great migration team that works with our customers, that we're taking our existing on-premise customers and bringing them into the cloud. And, we basically handhold them all the way from uh, analyzing and setting up, the migration plan, to then executing it and support afterwards to make sure that everything has been done correctly, quickly, efficiently, and they're up and running without much downtime.
Awesome. That sounds great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Esteban. Unless anyone wants to submit another last minute question, um, if not, then we can go ahead and wrap up our time together. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Esteban, for your wonderful presentation.
Hmm. Thank you,
We'll be
Anna.
sharing, yeah, we'll be sharing the recording with everyone tomorrow. In the meantime, hope everyone has a great day.